Hi there, I'm Romana Maiori.
And I'm Dario Ponissi. Welcome back to Joint Adventure.
Level 2, third lesson for you.
The rhyme. During which our exploration in search of your inner guitarist delves deeper into scales and how to use them.
Very useful. What else?
Well, keep watching and you'll find out.
So relax, hands on your guitar and
Play on.
play on.
Play on! In lesson 1, we studied the major scale in C. You remember? It was from the 5th string, 3rd position. Then we did C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. You remember? Oh, good. All right. So watch again my fingers while I do this scale. Alright, so you can see a certain shape, and this shape we can apply to a different scale, exactly as it is, but moving one string up. So if we started before from the 5th string, this time we'll start from the 6th string, where we'll find on the 3rd fret the note of G. So using the same fingering that we used before, we'll have the major scale in G. Let's try. So you place your middle finger on 3rd fret on the 6th string, then pinky goes to 5th fret, then you move to 5th string, 2nd fret with your forefinger, then you place your middle finger on the next fret, then you'll go with the pinky on 5th fret, then finally 4th string, 2nd fret with your forefinger. This time you use your ring finger on the 4th fret and pinky on the 5th fret. Alright? So the result would be this. If I had to do the major scale in C, I would start it from the 5th string. And in G would be from the 6th string. In other words, the fingering is exactly the same. If I had to do ascending and descending scale, it would be the same thing. Alright? You might have noticed that I use different tempos when I play the two scales. If you didn't notice, let's check it out right now. So, in the first time I used a regular beat, a 4/4 in a way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The second time I gave it a different accent and transformed it into a kind of waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I did something like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so why am I doing this? Because during the second section of this lesson, the Playtime session, we will use this structure in the original song that we made in order to practice the things that we study here. So actually, speaking of the song, on these two scales, the major scale of C and the major scale of G, we can place several chords that go well together. The structure that we decided to put on today would be this one. We will start from a chord of G, and it will be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we move to F. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Stay in F. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Go back to G. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we'll have 8 counts all together. Let's do it again. And 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, F. 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, stay in F, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, go back to G, 7, 2, 3, 8, 2, 3. And this will be the introduction. Then we'll go into the verse, or the central part of the song. And we will move to C, 1, 2, 3. Then we move to F, 2, 2, 3, E minor, 3, 2, 3, A minor, 4, 2, 3, and go back to C, 5, 2, 3. Okay, let's do it together from the C chord. And C, 2, 3, F, 2, 3, E minor, 2, 3, A minor, 2, 3, and C, 2, 3. At this point, we will move to G, and we will go 1, 2, 3, then we move to C, 1, 2, 3, go to D, 1, 2, 3, and E minor, 1, 2, 3, and go back to G, 1, 2, 3. Okay, all together it will be like this: 1, 2, 3, G, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, D, 2, 3, E minor, 2, 3, G, 1, 2, 3. And then we'll move back to C to finish the song. All together, it will be like this. So we go from the beginning. The introduction, I will do a little introduction on a different position of G, which is actually down here. I will explain it in a different lesson. You can play chords in different positions. Right now, we are operating in the first part of the fretboard. All right, so let's start with the G. 1, 2, 3, G. Twice. Then we go to F, 2, stay in F, 3, 4, then go to G, twice, and then we go into C, 1, 2, F, 1, 2, E minor, 1, 2, and A minor, 2, 3, and C, 2, 3, G, 1, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, then D, E minor, and G. All right, to finish this, to connect the first part, the second part to the next refrain, we'll just put a little, how can you call it? Like a little fermata, a little moment in which you take a breath in the chord of D, which we'll play twice. And you'll insert at the end of the refrain. Okay, I hope that this is a clear explanation of what we will do later. I'll sing the two scales during the playtime, but you can also, if you don't want to sing with me, that's fine. You can play the scales that we use. In other words, I will sing da 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 da. In other words, you can sing or you can play the scales with your guitars. Using the fingering that we studied all together. So let's get ready and go into playtime.
Once again, it's playtime.
Yes, playtime! We're positively dying to play together. I think I'm actually vaguely foaming at the mouth.
While he is recovering, please remember to subscribe
If you haven't done it yet.
and to follow us on Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram.
Yes. So, what's the song today?
Significant Seagoing Seagulls.
That's deep, like the sea.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let's do it. But this is how we do it. I will do just a little bit an introduction on this chord here, which is actually a chord of G. And then we do exactly what we studied in the first part of the lesson. So you can refer to that. I know that you basically followed me before, and so you will be absolutely ready to play with us right now. So let's do it. Significant Seagoing Seagulls. Ride the scales of C and G together, wing to wing, climb the sky, reach the clouds above, dive into the golden air, my love. We're just like significant seagoing seagulls that fly free, yes, just like significant seagoing seagulls. That's you and me, and C and G. Just like significant seagoing seagulls that fly free. Just like significant seagoing seagulls. That's you and me, and C and G, and you and me, and C and G. Yes, people, let's fly together. Play them guitars, waxing lyrical, and if you want, waxing the floor too.
Oh, better take the floor here with us.
Yes, it's a great idea. So we'll wait for all of you.
On Joint Adventure Level 2.
The rhyme. Ciao!
Ciao!